Good morning, friends. And this morning I want to pay tribute to a person who's had a profound influence upon my life and one of my great heroes. He went to be with the Lord just a few weeks ago at the age of 96. He was a pastor in northwest China. His name was Pastor Mungs. My parents were early missionaries to northwest China and Tibet, and in fact my mother went to that area of the world in the year 1924. And as a boy of 8 years of age in 1949, our family left northwest China. Pastor Mungs was left behind to pastor the flock in a city of Xining, capital of Qinghai province in northwest China. Over the course of the intervening years, we heard nothing out of that church because during the hard years of Mao and communism, the doors remained closed and letters didn't go back and forth. It was only in the late 80s when I got back in, long after my parents had died, that I reconnected with Pastor Mungs. When I first saw him in 1988, he was 80 years of age. He explained that the church had been closed down for 26 years. He had spent 9 of those years in prison and the balance on probation. I said to him, because his teeth were very bad, I said to him, Pastor Mungs, what did they feed you those years you were in prison? And he answered me with a big smile. He said, mostly spoiled food. At the age of 75, he had been able finally to secure governmental permission to reopen the church. And after it had been closed those 26 years, when he reopened, there were only 30 elderly believers. When I saw him for the first time in 88, the church had been open 5 years. I said, how many believers are there now, Pastor Mungs? He showed me their baptismal roster, and to my delight, I discovered that they had 1,500 believers in the church in the scope of 5 years. It had grown despite incredible difficulty. I said to him, Pastor Mungs, how did you have this kind of growth? He looked at me and he said, well, he said, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and we pray a lot. And then he went on to describe what the Lord had done in that town. One of the Communist Party's leading officials' wife had been sent home from the hospital dying of cancer, and they secretly called for Pastor Mungs to come and pray for her. He had come, and God had healed her and raised her up, and it was a tremendous testimony in the town. When Pastor Mungs passed away a few weeks ago, the church was no longer at 1,500. However, working with the young pastors that he had trained and mentored and planting other churches in the town, the Christian community in my old hometown of China now numbers 14,000 believers, from 30 believers to 14,000 in just the scope of about 23 years, from 1980 to 2003. And he died with great strength. He was still planning on the church expanding when he breathed his last. It's heroes like that really point the way to us, that say to us, God is with us in adversity. God is with us when the adversity lifts. We need not fear because we have one who is at our side. There's one at your side today to strengthen you in adversities of life and to bring you to fruitfulness as well.